Jim wasn't always a studly superworm. He was once just a spineless dirt eater with no real mission in life. Then a cosmic twist of fate placed him in control of an ultra-high-tech, indestructible super space cyber suit. Now Jim must make it to Princess What's-Her-Name's by staying clear of Psycrow, the intergalactic bounty hunter, until the final battle with Queen Slug-for-a-Butt. It's Earthworm Jim from Shiny Entertainment and Playmates, released in 1994. It's a side-scrolling platformer for the Super Nintendo, and it's in the Earthworm Jim franchise. And I seem to recall when I was a kid, I had Nintendo consoles and things like that. My brother ended up getting like a Genesis and an Xbox and all that other stuff. Needless to say, I had more fun than him. But I think he had this, because I seem to remember playing it, and I seem to remember it just being kind of... What made it unique and what made it different was the humor, which I gotta say doesn't quite hold up when you're a grumpy old man as I am. But it is what it is. It was ported to several consoles after being originally released for the Genesis. It was received well by critics and received a sequel the next year. In 2010, Gameloft developed and released a high-def remake, because that's what we all needed, for the PS3 and Xbox 360, entitled Earthworm Jim HD. In February 2018, Gameloft's contract with Interplay ended, so Earthworm Jim HD as well, for the DSi, Wii, and Windows Phone ports were removed from digital stores. That's the thing. 2D side-scrolling platformer, elements of run and gun. We control Jim, who must maneuver through levels while avoiding obstacles and enemies. You can use a gun, you can shoot, you can use his head for a whip. The whip allows you to grab hold of and swing from hooks. Some levels require additional requirements beyond merely getting to the end. For example, in For Pete's Sake, you have to make sure that the computer-controlled Peter Puppy gets through the level unharmed, which is accomplished by whipping him to making him jump over pits and defeating enemies before they can damage him. Failure to do so results in Peter lashing out at Jim, taking away his health. This is the stage I can't recall we ever got past. Now that I hear about it, it sounds familiar. Playmates Toys, finding success with their license for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, wanted to start their own franchise. Inspired by Sonic the Hedgehog, and finding some success with Sonic and Sonic 2, they decided they wanted to start a franchise as a video game, a rare approach at the time. From there, design started with Douglas Ten-Apple's simple sketch of an earthworm that he presented as Shiny Entertainment. Impressed programmer David Perry. He was impressed with a worm. Think about that. The rest of Shiny bought the rights from Doug, Earthworm Jim from Doug, and started working on the game. From there, Doug would work on doing the game design, creating levels, and voicing Jim's character, while Perry and the other programmers created the other characters and mechanics. Perry recounted that the giant hamster was drawn by one of our guys at 3 o'clock in the morning. Good story. The game's crazy atmosphere, world, and characters was due to the fact that the company had previously always been restricted to doing licensed games like 7-Up's Cool Spot. That's a great one, where they had to conform to other companies' preset limitations. In respect, this game was actually created as a satire of platform games. For example, Princess, What's-Her-Name was a parody of how so many video games had throwaway female characters to be saved. Genesis version came first, followed by the Super NES version. It had altered graphics and backgrounds and special effects, but lacked some of the sound effects and one of the levels. The stated reason for the Genesis having the extra level was that the Genesis version was more easily compressed and had more room for the bonus level. The Genesis release was promoted with a television commercial in which an elderly woman tells a bedtime story about Earthworm Jim while eating live earthworms. The network airing the commercial received so many complaints from nauseated viewers that the commercial was pulled, including stations in Portland, Spokane, and Sacramento. The special edition was released for the Sega CD and Windows 95. Another edition was released exclusively through the Sega Channel for a contest dubbed the Great Earthworm Jim Race. Eurocom put a scaled-down version out for the Game Boy, and it was also ported to the Game Gear. Atari was going to be putting something out for the Jaguar and the Jaguar CD, but it was never finished. Game Rankings gave it an 81. EGM gave it an 8.4, and that's the only rating for a Super Nintendo version I can see. It's alright. It's not the best game. Knowing that these guys were responsible for games like Cool Spot and all that really kind of gives me reason to realize that while this was kind of like a first draft of a game for them, it doesn't offer anything special other than the visuals, which kind of aren't great, I don't think. So that's what I gotta say about that.